Okay guys, we're gonna go through this together. I wanted to show you a couple of examples with the independent practice to kind of give you a walkthrough of how to solve the problem. So if we have our cube, we have 5 inches, 5 inches, 5 inches. That means it's made of 6 equal squares. Okay, so the cube has all sides the same length. And even though it is all sides the same length, I think it's easiest when you're first starting to do nets that you, or when you're first starting to do surface area, that you create a net of the shape that you are doing, just so you can see visually where those measurements are coming from. So, and you can see that I'm starting to draw my net. It does not need to be a great artistic piece, obviously you can see that. But for me, and I think for some students, it visually is, it helps explain a lot when you actually can see where those numbers are coming from. So if I have my 5 inches and 5 inches, and I need to find the area of just this one square, that is 25 inches squared. 5 times 5 is 25 inches squared. And then I have 6 of those exact same size shapes. So if I take my 25 inches and multiply it by those 6 shapes that I have total, then I get 150 inches squared. So, and if it was hard for you to see that, then you could go through and make your 25 inches represent that on your picture and see, okay, I have 6 of those that I am adding together to get to my 150 inches squared. So again, the surface area is when we add up all the different faces, the areas of those faces. The cube is the easiest because all of the faces are exactly the same size. With our second problem though, we have a more complicated problem that we're working on. So we have lots of different shapes in this that are all different measurements. And again, this is where I say, let's do the net. Let's go to our net and draw it so that we can see where all those pieces are coming together. Okay, so I'm going to cover this up. I know, just because you can't really see what I'm doing unless I cover it up. So our net for this shape is going to have, let's see, we're going to have a rectangle. We have our 2 triangles that make up that part. And then we have our middle piece, and we have this piece, so that when we fold it together, this creates that triangular prism that we have. And then I'm going to try and show you guys where the measurements are coming from. So this piece right here, oh, you can't see that, okay. This piece right here and this piece right here are exactly the same size, and it's this piece on the triangle. So here's my 90-degree, or telling me that that is a perpendicular line, so I know that that is a correct height for my triangle, and that this is my base. So this is 5.6 centimeters, and it's the same on both sides. Okay. And then if I'm looking at this part right here, okay, this is this piece that is the 10.7 centimeters. Okay, I guess, oh, sorry, you can't see that. Okay, it's 10.7 centimeters. This piece right here is this piece, 7 centimeters. Okay, and then you have this piece, which is also 5.6 centimeters, even though it doesn't look the same in my picture. I promise it is. My artwork is not fantastic. And then this is the same because all three of these are going to be the same. They're all 7 centimeters. And that would have, if you're thinking about that, that would make sense because all three of these have to fold together to create the shape. So they all have to be the same length on that. This one though is longer. This is your 12 centimeter side. So if we go back up to the picture, that's this piece right here. Okay. This is the most important thing, I think, when you're doing surface area, is to be able to take your three-dimensional shape and take it apart and draw the net that goes with it. Because if you can't see visually where the numbers are going, it's really confusing and hard to figure out all of the pieces to put together. So that's why I highly suggest drawing the net, and especially on the more complicated shapes. On the cube, not necessary, but on this one for sure. So in order to find the area of this triangle, I'm going to multiply these two together, base and height, but I also have to remember that my formula for the triangle is that I divide it in half. That is the most common mistake with students finding surface area. They forget that they have to divide it in half. And I will allow you guys to use calculators for this part because we're not really testing your multiplication on this. We are learning the formula for surface area. So if I multiply 10.7 and 5.6 and divide it by 2, I get 29.96, and that'd be centimeters squared. Okay, and then I have the same thing over here. Now, some students will figure out that when they multiply 5.6 and 10.7, I think you get like 58 point something, they'll say, oh, well, if I don't divide it in half, I could just use that amount and it will count for both triangles. And that's fine because that's one less step you have to do. So you can, if you know you have two triangles that are exactly the same size, then you don't necessarily have to divide it in half. You just have to remember and keep track of what you're doing. So those are the area of the triangles. And then if I times 10.7, which is this right here, times 7, that is going to give me 74.9 centimeters squared. So this rectangle is 5.6 centimeters times 7 centimeters. If I multiply that together, I get 39.2 centimeters squared. So I forgot to put my square there. Okay, and then on this one, you have your 12 centimeters times your 7 centimeters. So that's 84 centimeters squared. Okay, then I'm going to take all of those amounts and I add them together. So 29.96. and 29.96 and 84 and let's see, 74.9. Let's put some place value zeros in there, and then 39.2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's another thing I do also, is I will count how many faces I have and make sure I have that many measurements, just so I know that I'm including everything. Okay, add those all together. Put a place value holder right there. And you would get 200, I think 58, I don't remember, I don't have it written down on here. Okay, 258.92 centimeters squared. Okay, so kind of a lot of work. Remember, you can use a calculator, and just making sure you understand the concept of the net and how to picture it out flat so you can find the area of each individual piece.